Have you ever felt the quiet heaviness of carrying a relationship that no longer feels safe, loving, or supportive, yet you hold on to it because you think you are supposed to? That silent weight presses on your chest at night, leaving you restless and lingers in your mind during the day, draining your energy without you even realizing it. Deep down, you know something is wrong. You sense that this bond, once meaningful, has turned into a chain around your spirit. But you tell yourself that family is family, or that friendship should last forever. The truth is, not every relationship is meant to stay in your life. Some are here only to teach lessons, not to remain for a lifetime. Holding on to the wrong people can quietly suffocate your growth, your peace, and even your sense of self. Your soul already knows when a relationship has expired. It whispers through the discomfort you feel when you're around certain people. It speaks in the anxiety you cannot explain, in the dread that builds before meeting them, and the exhaustion that follows after they leave. These feelings are not weaknesses. They are signals. They are warnings from the deepest part of you that something is deeply out of alignment. Ignoring these signals because of guilt, obligation, or fear does not protect the relationship. It only wounds you further. Every time you silence that inner knowing, you teach yourself to accept less than you deserve. The cost of holding on to such ties is far greater than most realize. It is not only about wasted time or hurt feelings. It seeps into your mental health, your emotional stability, your ability to dream and create. Research shows that we mirror the energy of those we spend time with. If the energy surrounding you is filled with criticism, judgment, or negativity, that same energy begins to live inside you. Without even noticing, you start shrinking. Your laughter fades, your confidence weakens, your future looks smaller. This is the invisible damage of keeping connections that no longer honor you. But here is the truth that will set you free. Love does not always mean closeness. Love can also mean distance. Sometimes the bravest act of love is to step away. It is to say, will not allow you to keep harming me even if I still care for you. It is to recognize that peace is more valuable than pleasing others, and growth is more sacred than clinging to what once was. When you choose yourself, you do not lose. It may feel like loss, but it is liberation. Stay with this message, because the signs you will hear next are the very keys that will unlock your freedom. They will show you clearly, without doubt, when it is time to walk away, even if it is from someone you thought you could never let go of. This truth can change everything. Respect is the lifeblood of any relationship, and when it disappears, everything else eventually crumbles with it. Without respect, words lose their meaning, promises become empty, and even love turns into a Tao of what it once was. You can forgive mistakes, you can heal from arguments, but when someone consistently strips away your dignity with their words or actions, they are showing you that they no longer value your presence. They may still call you family, they may still call you friend, but the truth is, titles mean nothing when the substance of respect is gone. Respect is not about grand gestures or polite words. It is about how someone makes you feel, whether they honor your boundaries, whether they listen when you speak, whether they treat your soul with care instead of contempt. Think about the moments you've been belittled, dismissed, or mocked by someone you trusted. It cuts deeper than physical pain because it attacks your sense of worth. Over time, these small wounds pile up until you start to question yourself. You begin to wonder if you are overreacting, if you are too sensitive, if perhaps you deserve this treatment. That is the silent poison of disrespect. It convinces that you are the problem, but you are not. Their inability to honor you is a reflection of them, not you. The moment you accept disrespect as normal is the moment you surrender your power. Respect is the foundation upon which trust and love stand. Without it, nothing can grow. Imagine building a house on sand. It may stand for a while, but eventually it collapses under its own weight. That is what happens when you cling to a bond where respect has died. You may try harder, give more, sacrifice yourself to keep it standing, but the structure will still collapse. And when it does, you are left broken and depleted. That is why choosing to walk away when respect is gone is not cruelty. It is survival. It is choosing to protect the sacredness of your own soul before it is shattered beyond recognition. There is immense courage in saying, "I will not allow you to treat me this way." It is one of the hardest sentences you will ever form in your heart, but it is also the sentence that begins your freedom. Respect is not optional, it is the minimum. If someone refuses to give you even that, you owe it to yourself to end the bond, no matter what label society attaches to it. because the longer you allow disrespect, the more it erodes your identity, your peace, and your future. Let this truth settle deeply within you. Relationships without respect are graves where self-worth goes to die. Refuse to bury yourself there, refuse to shrink to make others comfortable. When respect ends, it is time to step away, because your life is too valuable to waste in the hands of someone who cannot see your worth. When you find yourself constantly drained after being around someone, it is a clear sign your spirit is under attack. This exhaustion is not the kind that sleep fixes. It is the heavy fatigue that comes from carrying emotional weight that is not yours to bear. It shows up in the tightness in your chest, in the headaches that arrive out of nowhere, in the deep sighs you release without even realizing it. Your body is speaking for your heart, telling you that being in this relationship costs more than it gives. No connection should leave you feeling smaller, weaker, or emptier than you were before. Love, whether from family or friend, should bring peace, not constant depletion. Living in a cycle of emotional drain forces you to walk on eggshells. You monitor every word, every gesture, terrified of triggering another wave of criticism, anger, or guilt. Instead of being yourself, you become an edited version, a shadow that tiptoes around their moods. This is not connection, it is captivity. A bond that demands you sacrifice your authenticity just to keep the peace is not a bond worth keeping. Every time you silence your true feelings, you slowly suffocate the very core of who you are. The toll of this cycle reaches far beyond the relationship itself. Chronic stress rewires your nervous system. You stay in survival mode, always on edge, unable to truly relax. Your mind replays conversations long after they've ended, analyzing every word, wondering what you could have done differently. Your sleep is restless, your energy is depleted, and your joy fades into the background. This is not a minor inconvenience. It is a silent erosion of your life force. The more you remain, the more you train your body to believe that unease is normal, that anxiety is a companion you must tolerate. But unease is not normal. Anxiety is not love. You deserve to feel safe in the presence of those you hold close. You deserve to exhale without fear, to speak without hesitation, to exist without being drained dry. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is survival. When you realize that certain people leave you emotionally bankrupt, the choice becomes clear. You either continue surrendering pieces of yourself until nothing is left, or you walk away and reclaim your energy. This is not abandonment. It is protection of the one life you have been given. Let it be clear, if every encounter leaves you feeling weaker, that relationship is stealing from you. Your energy is sacred. Your joy is sacred. Your soul is sacred. Do not hand it over to those who only take and never give. Ending contact is not about revenge or anger. It is about finally putting down the burden that was never yours to carry. When you do, you will feel a freedom you may not have experienced in years. That freedom is your birthright. Hold on to it and never let it go. One of the most dangerous traps in relationships is when manipulation disguises itself as love. It does not always look obvious. It can appear as concern, as advice, as sacrifice. Yet behind the surface lies control, designed to bend your choices, silence your voice, and shape your life around someone else's needs. This type of connection leaves you questioning yourself, doubting your instincts, and carrying guilt that was never yours to begin with. Manipulation thrives in confusion, and when you are caught in it, you beg to lose sight of who you truly are. The tactics are subtle but devastating. They guilt you for setting boundaries. They withdraw affection when you refuse to obey. They offer conditional love that only flows when you act according to their script. They punish with silence, knowing it leaves you desperate to repair what you never broke. These behaviors are not expressions of care. They are strategies of power. Real love does not manipulate. It supports, uplifts, and empowers. Anything less is control dressed in the mask of intimacy. Psychologically, manipulation locks you in a cycle of dependence. You begin to crave approval from the very person who withholds it. You work harder and harder to earn scraps of kindness, believing that if you just give a little more, sacrifice a little more, change yourself a little more, the relationship will finally feel whole. But this is an illusion. You are running on a treadmill, moving endlessly yet going nowhere. The manipulator ensures you feel stable because your instability is their power. The longer you stay, the more you lose touch with your inner compass. Your confidence erodes, your decisions feel uncertain, and your identity becomes blurred. You stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "What will keep them happy?" That shift is the ultimate theft, when robs you of your ability to live authentically. It is not love if it demands you to shrink, to twist, or to betray yourself in order to maintain it. Walking away from manipulation is not an act of rebellion, it is an act of truth. It is reclaiming the voice that has been silenced, the choices that have been stolen, the life that has been put on hold. It is looking at the mask and naming it for what it is, no matter how much they insist otherwise. Love should never leave you confused. Love should never make you afraid of displeasing someone who claims to care. Love should never require you to abandon yourself. If you recognize these patterns, know that you are not imagining it. Your intuition is sharper than the fog of manipulation. Trust it. Release the grip of control that has kept you bound. Choosing to end contact is not betrayal, it is liberation. And when you finally step into that freedom, you will rediscover a truth that was always within you. You were never meant to live under someone else's chains. You were meant to live in the light of your own power. Betrayal is one of the deepest wounds a human heart can endure. It is not only about the act itself, but about what it destroys inside you. Trust is the foundation of every connection, and when it is shattered, something within you shatters too. The one you believed in, the one you confided in, the one you allowed into your most vulnerable spaces, chooses deceit instead of loyalty. That choice sends a message louder than any words. They valued their desire more than your dignity. No apology can erase that truth. The sting of betrayal lingers long after the moment has passed. It rewires your nervous system, keeping you in a state of hypervigilance. You question not only them, but everyone else who enters your life. You wonder if you will ever be safe again. You wonder if opening your heart was a mistake. Betrayal plants seeds of doubt that spread like weeds, choking the trust you once offered so freely. It can even make you doubt yourself, asking if you missed the signs, if you could have prevented it, if somehow it was your fault. But the fault never lies in trusting. It lies in those who chose to abuse that trust. When betrayal repeats, it becomes a clear declaration. It is not a mistake, it is not a slip. It is a pattern, a choice made again and again without remorse. Every repetition is proof that they do not honor your heart, your faith, or your bond, and each time you forgive without change, you teach them that their actions carry no consequence. But your soul carries the weight of those consequences every single day. Healing cannot begin in the same place where betrayal continues. Staying bound to someone who repeatedly breaks your trust is like trying to mend a wound while reopening it every night. The scar cannot form, the pain cannot fade because it is constantly torn open again. To protect yourself, you must accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Their actions speak louder than promises. Their patterns reveal their truth. Believe what they show you, not what they say. Walking away after betrayal is not an act of bitterness. It is an act of self-respect. It is choosing to guard your soul from those who have proven they cannot be trusted with it. It is reclaiming your peace from the chaos of their choices. It is refusing to let their actions define your worth. You are not broken because someone betrayed you. You are strong because you still have the power to leave, to heal, and to rebuild. Let this be the moment you release the grip of betrayal. Do not hold on to the hand that has wounded you. Protect the sacredness of your heart by removing it from the reach of those who cannot honor it. In that decision, you take back your dignity, your trust in yourself, and the unshakable truth that you are worthy of loyalty. There are people whose very presence lowers your energy, whose words and actions weigh on you like a shadow, leaving you drained and restless long after they are gone. This is not coincidence. Human beings absorb the emotions of those around them. The nervous system mirrors the energy it encounters, whether light or heavy, uplifting or destructive. When every encounter with someone leaves you exhausted, hopeless, or uneasy, it is a clear sign that their influence is toxic to your spirit. You may try to dismiss it, telling yourself you're imagining things, but your body never lies. The heaviness you feel is truth speaking louder than excuses. Negativity spreads like fire. The more time you spend around it, the more it consumes you. Even if you enter a conversation with joy, air bitterness, their complaints, or their criticism quickly pull you into their storm. You leave carrying emotions that were never yours to begin with, emotions that infect your peace and stain your perspective. Slowly, you begin to see the world through their lens, a lens clouded with resentment, anger, or envy. This is how your growth is blocked. Not always by direct attacks, but by the steady drain of their energy eroding your optimism and hope. Protecting yourself from this influence is not about judgment or superiority. It is about survival. Just as you would never willingly drink poison, you cannot allow yourself to keep absorbing energy that poisons your spirit. Over time, negativity does not just affect your mind, it weakens your body, disrupts your focus, and dulls your dreams. You begin to live smaller, quieter, less inspired. And the saddest part is, you may not even realize how much of your potential has been dimmed, because the erosion happens slowly, moment by moment, word by word, encounter by encounter. You were not created to carry the burdens of others' bitterness. You were created to shine with your own light, to walk in peace, and to pursue your purpose with clarity and strength. But you cannot do that if you are constantly weighed down by those who thrive on pulling you into their misery. It is not cruel to distance yourself. It is not harsh to protect your space. It is wisdom. It is strength. It is choosing to preserve the most sacred resource you have, your energy. If you notice that someone's presence consistently leaves you drained, pay attention. That is not love. That is not care. That is a signal to step back. Ending contact is not about punishing them. It is about freeing yourself. It is about reclaiming the joy and light that belong to you. Your energy is too precious to be handed to those who only take and never give. Guard it fiercely, because when your energy is protected, your spirit flourishes, your dreams expand, and your life inly becomes a reflection of peace instead of survival. One of the clearest signs that a relationship cannot be healed is when the other person refuses accountability. Accountability is the doorway to growth, the willingness to see one's own mistakes and take responsibility for harm caused. Without it, there can be no change, no repair, no trust. When someone continually shifts blame, denies wrongdoing, or twists the truth to protect their image, they are showing you that they value their pride more than the relationship. It is impossible to build anything lasting with someone who refuses to look in the mirror. Blame shifting is not only unfair, it is destructive to your sense of self. Over time, it makes you question your own reality. You begin to doubt your memory, your feelings, even your sanity, because every attempt to discuss the harm is turned back on you. Instead of being heard, you are accused. Instead of being validated, you are dismissed. This cycle chips away at your company, confidence, until you are left carrying guilt for things that were never yours to carry. That is the power of a person who refuses accountability. They rewrite the narrative so you are always the problem and they are always the victim. The truth is, no amount of patience, love, or effort can fix a relationship where accountability is absent. Without responsibility, apologies mean nothing. Promises mean nothing. Every word becomes hollow because actions never follow. And while you wait for change, you are the one enduring the same wounds again and again. This is not love. It is denial dressed as connection. By staying, you send a silent message that their behavior has no consequence, and that message only ensures the cycle will continue. There is a freedom that comes when you finally recognize that it is not your role to fix someone who refuses to see themselves. You cannot drag someone into self-awareness. You cannot force them to grow. Growth is a choice only they can make, and if they continually reject it, your only choice is whether to keep suffering or to walk away. Ending contact is not about giving up on them. It is about refusing to give up on yourself. It is about valuing your peace enough to stop begging for change that will never come. You deserve relationships where responsibility is shared, where mistakes are acknowledged, and where healing is possible because truth is honored. Anything less is a slow erosion of your soul. If someone cannot admit their role in the pain they cause, they cannot honor your heart. Protect yourself from the endless loop of blame and denial. Choose the strength to step away from those who refuse to grow. When you do, you reclaim your clarity, your dignity, and your power to build connections rooted in honesty. That is where true love lives, in the space where accountability is not feared, but embraced. True transformation begins when you refuse to let the weight of temporary discomfort decide the direction of your life. The human spirit is designed to grow through resistance, to discover its hidden strength not in comfort, but in the moments when everything inside you whispers to stop, yet you rise and push forward anyway. Pain is not the enemy. It is a messenger. It arrives to show you where you have been settling, where you have ignored your worth, where you have allowed fear to hold you back. Instead of resisting it, lean into it. See it not as punishment, but as the path to your awakening. Every obstacle, every rejection, every setback is shaping you into someone who can carry more, withstand more, and ultimately rise higher than you ever thought possible. The truth is, nothing in life changes until you change the way you see yourself. The world mirrors the identity you project, and if you constantly believe you are powerless, overlooked, or undeserving, life will continue to give you reasons to feel that way. But the moment you decide to rewrite that narrative, the moment you choose to carry yourself as someone worthy of respect, worthy of love, worthy of success, everything around you begins to shift. People treat you differently. Opportunities find their way to you, not because the world suddenly changed, but because you finally aligned with who you were meant to be all along. Self-belief is not arrogance, it is the foundation of transformation. It is the unshakable knowing that no matter what stands against you, something far greater stands within you. Every great victory begins inside the mind, long before it ever shows up in reality. If you see yourself as fragile, you will break. If you see yourself as powerful, you will endure. That shift in perspective is the turning point that takes you from merely surviving to unapologetically thriving. And it is a choice you must make every single day, in every single moment, especially when it feels hardest to believe. Life will test you, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. The storms you face are not random. They are invitations to Each challenge strips away what no longer serves you and refines the parts of you that are eternal. Your resilience, your courage, your strength cannot be destroyed. They can only be hidden. And when life presses you, it presses so that those qualities surface, shining through the cracks of your struggle like light breaking through darkness. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are not failing because you stumble. You are becoming. You are shedding the weight of who you once were and stepping into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. And in that realization lies the power to face anything, overcome anything, and transform everything. Every moment you doubt yourself, every moment you allow fear to dictate your choices, you shrink the limitless potential that lives inside of you. The mind is powerful, but it can either be your greatest enemy or your most faithful ally. When you dwell on limitation, the mind convinces you that your obstacles are too large to overcome. But when you discipline your thoughts, when you choose to believe in possibility rather than impossibility, the same mind becomes the engine that carries you into breakthroughs you once thought impossible. This is not about ignoring reality. It is about creating a new reality by refusing to let temporary setbacks define permanent outcomes. Your energy follows your focus. If you focus on what is missing, life will always feel scarce. If you focus on what you possess, life begins to expand. Gratitude is not weakness, it is fuel. It grounds you in the present while strengthening your vision for the future. When you appreciate the smallest progress, you create momentum. Momentum grows into strength, and strength grows into transformation. You cannot climb the highest mountain by staring at how far you have to go, but you can conquer it one step at a time, fueled by the conviction that every step forward matters. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. Waiting for the perfect moment will paralyze you, because perfection never arrives. The ones who rise are the ones who act, even when they don't feel ready, even when fear whispers they are not enough. Every act of courage you take, no matter how small, builds evidence for your strength. Over time, those actions become habits, and those habits shape your destiny. You were not created to live in hesitation. You were created to move, to grow, to break through. When you decide to stop negotiating with your excuses, you step into a version of yourself that is unstoppable. Excuses will always sound reasonable because they are designed to keep you safe. But safety is the enemy of greatness. The life you dream of will never be built on comfort. It will only be built on courage. Every time you silence the voice of fear and choose to act, you reinforce the truth that you are more capable than you imagined. Confidence is not found in waiting. It is built through consistent action, even when it feels uncomfortable. The transformation you seek does not come from outside approval. It comes from the quiet decision you make within to rise above who you were yesterday. When you learn to stop seeking validation and start validating yourself, you become free. Free to grow, free to evolve, free to pursue the life that was always meant for you. Nothing is stronger than the human spirit, once it believes in itself. Nothing can stand in the way of a heart that refuses to quit. You are that heart, and you are that spirit. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world outside, but against the voices within that try to convince you to settle. That voice of doubt, that whisper of fear, that subtle pull toward comfort is the barrier standing between you and the extraordinary life waiting for you. The moment you stop listening to it, the moment you choose to act in alignment with your higher self rather than your weaker impulses, you unleash a force that nothing can contain. You begin to rewrite your story not with words but with actions that declare you refuse to live beneath your potential. Strength is not something you are given, it is something you create by refusing to give up when everything in you wants to surrender. Every time you persist through discomfort, you add another layer to the foundation of your character. Every time you push beyond what feels possible, you expand the limits of your mind and body. Growth is painful because it requires you to leave behind the familiar, but nothing extraordinary has ever been created from the comfort zone. The person you are meant to become will only be revealed when you choose to rise above the person you were yesterday. Discomfort is not a punishment, it is the birthplace of transformation. The pain you feel when you push yourself further than before is not a sign of weakness but of strength being born. Every struggle you endure is shaping you into someone more resilient, more capable, more unshakable. The easy path may feel tempting, but it leads only to regret. The hard path, the one filled with challenges and tests, is the one that builds pride, dignity, and the kind of self-respect that cannot be shaken by anyone or anything. Your life will not change because you wish for it to change. It will only change when you make a firm decision to rise, to act, to discipline yourself in moments when no one is watching. Greatness is built in silence, in the hidden hours where you choose to keep moving when others quit. The results may not show instantly, but every seed you plant in discipline and effort grows beneath the surface until one day it bursts into undeniable reality. The world does not reward intentions, it rewards results. And results come only to those who decide that no excuse is stronger than their purpose. You have within you an untapped well of strength, but it can only be accessed when you demand more of yourself than the world demands of you. Do not wait for permission to rise. Do not wait for the right conditions. Begin now with what you have and watch as your persistence turns impossibilities into realities. The power is already inside you, and once you choose to release it, nothing can hold you back. Every moment you remain attached to people who drain your spirit, you hand over pieces of your power without realizing it. You tell yourself that you can endure it, that maybe they will change, that perhaps your loyalty will be enough to fix what is broken. But the truth is that staying in spaces where your worth is not honored chips away your confidence, your energy, and your future. You cannot rise into the person you are meant to become if you are constantly shrinking to fit into places that were never designed for your growth. Every time you silence your needs, you send a message to yourself that your well-being does not matter, and that message eventually becomes the belief that keeps you trapped. It takes immense courage to look at someone you care about and admit that their presence is hurting you more than it is helping you. The mind resists this truth because it feels safer to cling to familiarity than to face the unknown. But what feels safe is often the very thing holding you back from true freedom. When you choose to keep contact with someone who belittles you, ignores your boundaries, or manipulates your kindness, you train your nervous system to accept disrespect as normal. Over time, you begin to mistake tolerance for love, endurance for loyalty, and pain for connection. This is why so many remain stuck in cycles that quietly destroy them. There comes a point when you must decide that your peace is not negotiable. You must draw a line so clear that even your doubts cannot cross it. Ending contact is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of protection. It is declaring to yourself and to the world that your life will not be governed by chaos, manipulation, or guilt. The person you cut off may never understand your decision, but they do not need to. Your healing is not dependent on their approval. Your freedom does not require their permission. What matters is that you reclaim control over your energy and your destiny. The greatest danger of holding on to toxic connections is not the pain they cause in the moment, but the opportunities they steal from your future. Every hour you spend recovering from their words, every tear you shed because of their actions, every piece of yourself you give away trying to hold them together is energy that could have been used to build your dreams. When you end all contact, you take that power back. You create space for relationships that uplift you, for opportunities that align with your purpose, for a life that feels expansive instead of suffocating. Your heart knows when it has been carrying too much for too long. Listen to that inner wisdom. Trust it enough to walk away. You are not betraying anyone by choosing yourself. You are simply stepping into the TR. Ooth, that the highest form of love you can ever give is the love you give yourself. When someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, it is not just a sign of their disregard for you, it is also a warning that your silence is teaching them how to treat you. People learn quickly what they can get away with, and the longer you allow disrespect, the more it becomes the unspoken agreement in the relationship. You may tell yourself that you are being patient, that you are showing grace, that love means enduring, but what you are really doing is allowing your spirit to be diminished little by little. The most dangerous erosion is not the kind that happens in a single moment, but the kind that happens slowly, quietly, until one day you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the strength you once carried. Boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out. They are doors designed to let the right people in while protecting your peace from those who abuse access. When someone refuses to respect those doors, you must be willing to close them completely. Ending all contact is the strongest form of a boundary because it says without words that you will not allow yourself to be treated as disposable. It is the ultimate act of reclaiming your power and breaking the cycle of disrespect that has weighed you down. The fear that often keeps people from taking this step is the fear of being seen as harsh or unforgiving. But protecting your soul is not harsh. It is necessary. You are not responsible for teaching a grown person how to value another human being. You are only responsible for ensuring that you are not destroyed in the process of giving them chance after chance. Mercy has its place, but self-betrayal cannot be the price of your loyalty. When you realize that someone cannot or will not honor the basic respect you deserve, the most loving thing you can do for yourself is step away. There is immense freedom in walking away from people who cannot meet you at the level of respect you require. At first, it may feel like a loss because your heart has been conditioned to hold on, but soon it transforms into relief. You no longer wake up with the weight of their words on your chest. You no longer walk into every conversation bracing for the next violation. Your energy returns, your clarity sharpens. You realize that life feels lighter without the constant battle to defend your worth. Respect is not something you should beg for, negotiate for, or sacrifice yourself to obtain. It is the bare minimum that every relationship should be built on. If someone cannot give you that, no matter who they are, you owe it to yourself to close the door. Ending all contact is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of living with dignity, with peace, and with a heart no longer chained to those who could not see your value. Silence often reveals more truth than words ever could. When someone who claims to care for you consistently ignores your pain, dismisses your feelings, or refuses to acknowledge the harm they cause, their silence speaks volumes. It tells you where you stand in their priorities. It shows you how little they value the bond you share. Waiting for them to change, waiting for them to suddenly wake up and see your worth, only traps you in a cycle of disappointment. Every time you hope for better and receive the same neglect, you reinforce a pattern that drains your energy and clouds your self-esteem. You cannot force awareness into someone who has chosen to remain blind. You cannot teach empathy to someone who has no desire to feel it. And you cannot build a healthy connection with someone who benefits from keeping you small. The longer you hold on, the more you compromise the standards you once had for yourself. Slowly, you begin to believe that maybe you are asking for too much, when in reality you are only asking for the basics of human decency. The danger of this erosion is that it convinces you to lower your worth to match our lack of effort, when what you truly need is to rise above and walk away. There is power in recognizing indifference for what it is, a refusal to care. No excuses, no justifications, no explanations can soften the truth that if someone truly valued you, their actions would reflect it. Caring is not hidden. Respect is not silent. Love does not leave you questioning your own importance. And when those essentials are missing, you owe it to yourself to stop holding on to shadows and start reaching for light. Cutting contact with someone who repeatedly invalidates you is not cruelty. It is self-preservation. It is refusing to let their silence drown out your voice. It is choosing to honor your feelings even when they refuse to. It is taking the space you need to breathe, to heal, to remember what it feels like to be seen and valued. The fear of losing them may feel heavy at first, but the relief that follows is undeniable. That relief is your soul telling you that you made the right choice. That you finally chose yourself. The truth is, relationships are mirrors. If the reflection you see is always pain, neglect, or dismissal, it is not a mirror you should continue standing in front of. There are connections waiting for you that will reflect your strength, your kindness, your value back to you, but you will never see them clearly until you step away from the ones that distort your vision. Ending all contact with those who refuse to acknowledge your worth clears the space for those who will cherish it without hesitation. If these words touch something deep inside you, it's because your heart already knows the truth. It's time to choose peace. It's time to choose yourself. Never forget you are stronger than the pain, braver than the fear, and more worthy than the treatment you've endured. If this message gave you clarity, make sure you stay with us by subscribing, because your journey to power, healing, and freedom has only just begun. Your next breakthrough is waiting. Don't miss it.